money. It's only for $50,000. I'm so ashamed. I have suffered and dealt with the same kind of medical problem now afflicting my friend Michael Jackson. Because of that, and because of our friendship, when Michael's doctor called to ask if I could help, I was glad to intervene. I traveled to Mexico City, where I saw for myself that Michael was in desperate need of specialized medical attention. Because of my own experience with addiction to prescription medicines, I was able to make a number of calls in search of the best and most appropriate treatment for Michael, and he is now undergoing such treatment in Europe. Out of respect for his privacy, which I know to be extremely important at this time, I have not spoken publicly about our movements or about Michael's exact location. And because of my regard for him and my concern for his health, I will continue to be silent. I will only repeat that I am a friend of Michael Jackson's, and I love him like a son, and I support him with all my heart.
I loved him.
Michael Jackson. The story of your friendship with him, how did that begin?
I went to a concert, and I couldn't see a thing. I was way up in the, well, it was at the stadium, and I couldn't see a thing. And I brought 30 people, and we couldn't even hear. So we went home to watch it on television by a disc. And Michael heard that I had left halfway through and called me the next day and was like in tears because he'd heard that I'd walked out. I hadn't walked out. I just couldn't see anything. And then we talked on the phone for about 3 hours, and from there on in, we talked more and more on the phone. Then we met and spent more and more time with each other, and just became really good friends, told each other everything.
Why'd you like him so much?
We're very much alike.
Are you?
Yes. We both had horrible childhoods. Well, working at the age of 9 is not a childhood. He started at 3. And that certainly isn't a childhood.
Have you spoken to him recently?
Yes, I have.
How's he doing? He's in where?
He sounds very happy.
Where is he?
At the moment, I think he's in London.
But he was in Tokyo recently and then London.
Yeah.
But he lives in Bahrain?
Right.
What did you think of the charges against him?
I've never been so angry in my life.
But didn't you think, Dame Elizabeth, I'm sorry, that it would look strange to people to have someone who's in his 40s spending a night with children? I mean, just off the face of it.
All right, I'll answer that. Because I've been there. When his nephews were there, and we all were in the bed watching television, there was nothing abnormal about it. There was no touchy feeling going on. We laughed like children. And we watched a lot of Walt Disney. There was nothing odd about it.
So you think they were out after him?
I do.
The authorities and the like?
I think the paparazzi started, not the paparazzi, the press. Excuse me, may I blow my nose?
You may.
Thank you.
It's called human.
Well, I'm not.
Even Elizabeth Taylor blows her nose. Is he going to come back to working?
I don't think so, except maybe in Europe.
You don't think he'll ever live in the United States again?
Well, really, why should he? He's been treated like dirt here.
We'll take a break, come back, we'll talk about AIDS, we'll talk about jewelry, we'll take your phone calls with Dame Elizabeth Taylor, who tonight is, you may say what you will, she is put away. What's the relationship that you had with Michael Jackson?
Had or have? I mean, it's kind
Had
of,
both.
you know, whatever.
Let's go with had to
Listen,
have.
no, he's a good friend of mine, and he still is. I mean, everything that's going on, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation for everyone involved, and, you know.
How did you first get to meet him?
I first met him, he kind of called me randomly, like out of the blue. He was just kind of like, hi, it's Michael. And I was like, hey. And the thing
This was after Home Alone?
This is after Home Alone. I actually had met him before I was doing Nutcracker at Lincoln Center. I was playing Fritz, and he came backstage one day, and I actually met him very briefly. And he kind of recognized me because it was after I'd done Uncle Buck, and so he kind of mentioned something. And then he calls me up kind of out of the blue, and it's kind of just this weird random thing. And he was like, why don't you come over to my house? And the thing is, I didn't react to him the way most people did. Most people were like, Michael Jackson. And, you know, I mean, he was a god to people. And to me, he was, you know, I knew he was a pop singer, but beyond that, you know, I wasn't one of the fans. I think that's one of the reasons why we connected, was the fact that, you know, believe me, I call him a jerk all the time. I call him a fathead and this and that, you know, and he gets it.
Your brother knew him too?
Yeah, no, we all did. I mean, he was, you know, a family friend.
What happened at the house? That's what all these things that people
you know,
are
that's
concerned
what's so
about.
weird, you know.
What did happen?
Nothing happened, you know. I mean, nothing really. I mean, we played video games, you know. We you know, played it at his amusement park. Well, the thing is with that whole thing is that, you know, they go, oh, you slept in the same bedroom as him. It's like, I don't think you understand. Michael Jackson's bedroom is 2 stories. And it has like 3 bathrooms and this and that. So when I slept in his bedroom, yeah, but you have to understand the whole scenario. And the thing is with Michael is that he's not very good at explaining himself, and he never really has been, because he's not a very social person. I mean, you're talking about someone who's been sheltered and sheltering himself also for the last like 30 years, or, you know, and so he's not very good at communicating to people and not very good at conveying what he's actually trying to say to you. And so when he says something like that, you know, people, you know, he doesn't quite understand why people react the way that they do.
Why do you think he likes young people so much?
It's because the same reason why he liked me was the fact that I didn't care who he was. That was the thing. I talked to him like he was a normal human being. And that's what, and kids do that to him, because he's not, I mean, he's Michael Jackson, the pop singer, but he's not the god of, you know, the king of pop or anything like that. He's just, you know, a guy who's actually very kid-like himself and wants to go out there and wants to play video games with you.
Did your parents encourage it?
They weren't against it. You know, it wasn't like they encouraged it or like pushing me upon it. It was just kind of like I wanted to hang out with him, and they were fine with it.
So what do you make of what he's going through now?
Like, you know, like I said, it's unfortunate, and, you know, it's a circus right now.
You think it's a bad rap?
You know, I think so, yeah. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, listen, like, look what happened on the first time this happened to him. You know, if someone had done something like that to my kid, I would, you know, I wouldn't just settle for some money. You know, I'd make sure the guy was in jail, you know, and it just really goes to show. I mean, as soon as, you know, they got the money and they ran. I mean, that's really what happened the first time. And so, you know, I don't know, it's a little crazy, and I kind of have taken a step back from the whole thing, because it is a bit of a circus, and you know, if the same thing was happening to me, I wouldn't want to drag him into it, and vice versa. So I try my best to keep a distance from it, but like I said, he's still a friend of mine.
If they asked you to be a character witness, would you appear?
I guess so, but I probably not. I mean, like I said, it's crazy, and I don't really want to be a part of it, you know?
But you like him?
I like him, and he's a friend of mine. I'm not saying I wouldn't do something like that. It just hasn't been brought up to me, and I don't think he'd want me to either, just because, like I said, you know, if the same thing was happening to me, I wouldn't want him to be.
What reaction has happened to you from all of this?
What do you mean?
I mean, people. Do people inquire of you a lot about it?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, you know, people always have like their opinions, and they always, you know, it's funny. I mean, people always talk to me about him because, you know, I'm one of these people who will tell you anything about my life, really, to get me going, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, I freely and openly talk about him and stuff like that. But overall, you know, he's just a good friend of mine.
But you wish him well?
Yes, of course I do.
What got you
to get together with Michael Jackson and work with him?
Well, just in the early days, well, I mean, like 3-4 years ago, I mean, he used to just come and see our shows at the Forum in LA, and I guess he liked us, and so I got to meet him, and he kept coming to see us, and then we started talking, and in those days, I think he would actually go out. He'd go out and have dinners. I mean, I remember going to dinner with him, and I think now he just stays at home and doesn't like coming out at all. That's what, you know, that's what he says. I mean, he says, oh, whatever he wants, he can get at home, because I mean, anything he wants, he just buys it.
But have you ever talked to him about, I mean, just in terms of being an artist or in terms of a song?
Well, I mean,
like, to stay in the house like that kind of isolation, that's so scary.
I know, that's not me,
it?
that's not me, but I mean, you know, that's his bag. And I wouldn't do that. I mean, I'll be bored to death. I mean, I have to go out every night. I mean, I hate staying in one room for too long anyway. I'd just like to keep moving. It was just an individual approach, you know. I don't know. I mean, I guess he's just because he started when he was very young. So I mean, when you think about it, or when I'm talking to him, I think, my God, he's 25, I'm 37. Yet he's been in the business almost longer than I have.
You were also recording something with Michael Jackson that was not released yet. I think the song is even called Victory. Is that true?
That's right. Yeah. I've done like 3 tracks with him, and that was about a year ago, even longer than that. And yes, Victory was one of the songs, but he wanted to use the title for the Jackson thing. But the song is still there, and it's probably just waiting until the 2 of us get together and finish it.
You haven't finished it yet?
No, and I mean, it's just because he has commitments, I have commitments, and it's very difficult. I mean, he's on tour, I'm going on tour, and you've got to sort of, you know, it's very, very difficult when 2 different, you know, musicians are trying to get together. I mean, he has to do his stuff, and it's just that when I was spending some time in LA and we're friends, he said, oh, why don't we try something? So, I mean, one day it'll probably be finished. And, well, the other song is called State of Shock, which I did, and Mick Jagger's on it, but it's all okay because Michael called me up and said, look, I want to finish a song, I want it on the Jackson's album, and I said, I can't come over because I'm in Munich. And he said, well, is it okay if Mick does it? So I said, fine, you know. Songs are songs. I mean, as long as our friendship carries on, we can write all kinds of songs.